Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Let's get ready to be at our best now. Be at our best.
Yeah, it's going to be a boring one today.
Those guys don't all suck.
You son of a B!
ASAP, any score, any place, you know we bring well. We bout there. We'll pull up on anybody and get it done.
Suck it, Raiders.
He is dead.
I love you, Jeff, but
Joe, start fast.
They're the next team on our schedule, and we're trying to do something big here. We're trying to win a Super Bowl.
It's another beautiful day.
It is.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Charger Chat. I'm your co-host, Wolldog, sitting with my two brothers, Kev, Hug, and Duggan.
12 days until our boys take the field.
12, count them, baby, and don't forget Kyle, the coach, Duggan.
What's up, my dudes?
All right, well,
Dudettes.
it has been a roller coaster of emotions this past week, folks, for a multitude of reasons. Biggest being, I mean, we got to get it out of the way. We got to talk about Derwin James. When he went down, everything was so on the edge of your seat, waiting to hear what it was that was happening. All we knew was that he was holding the back of his right leg. He threw his gloves and went into the tent, and it was just like, oh God, please.
It was just this has been such a roller coaster because it's been this slow step process of like, because we have social media now,
Yeah.
you're hearing and seeing things unlike how you used to. So it's like this slow progress of like, it's his hamstring.
It's
Okay, we'll be okay.
All
Couple
right.
weeks. All right,
Yeah.
all right. Cool,
Strain.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll get back. No problem.
Right.
Meniscus. Oh shit, meniscus. That's like an important
maybe
part of your
6
knee,
weeks.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
That
Sounds
sounds
like
like a
a-
big deal.
Sounds like an important part.
There's a lot
Okay.
more syllables in that.
So then I become like WebMD doctor and I do a little
Yeah.
research and I know everything about meniscuses now.
Yeah,
And I
our
was
group
like-
chat got some weird WebMD stuff. in there.
It got very technical very quick.
Yeah.
But okay, cool. He's gonna be a couple, maybe 4 to 6 weeks. You do a little nip it, you take it off, you clean it up a little bit,
Mhm.
you'll be fine. And then the news came out, and it was like, oh my God, like it hit me right in the feels, right in the chest, just took the wind out of me. It's like, fuck, man.
Right. Well, there was that time where there was still question as to, because we knew that it was meniscus, but there was two options on the table of either a fix that would put him out for about 4 weeks or a
Yeah, just a
complete
scope.
fix, which would take him out for the whole season. And we hadn't heard what it was that was going to be until Schefter finally posted that it was
and
going to be the full
God damn
season.
you, Schefter.
Us
Thank
being
you for
shamelessly positive, we were all just praying and hoping for that 4 to 6 weeks. I could feel the tears that Kevin was weeping when that alert came onto my phone. Like I had this weird like vision of Kevin just like crying when I saw the alert pop up. I was like, oh no, my brother, I need to somehow be there for
the
him.
force.
right
There's
now.
a disruption in the force. My blood's
Exactly.
crying.
The Duggan Force. There's a disruption.
Disruption of the Duggan force. Yeah, it was fucking brutal.
It
you
is.
know, I remember where I was. I was on the toilet. I was on the toilet
Where I get
doing
most of
my work,
info.
feeling
Yeah.
pretty okay, like doing a little research, and then the news. And wow, man! Like
Yeah.
Have you
You just
recovered
don't-
yet, Kevin?
I think after we made that little aliens video, it like
Yeah.
brought me out of it a
Help.
little bit. And then I
Yeah.
kind of like, hey, quit being such like a pouty puss on yourself. Don't quit being such a puss. Like, stop being such a puss about it.
Right.
Like, look at our defense.
Right.
Look at the guys that we were having a hard time trying to squeeze in and make the roster.
That's a very positive way to look at it. It's just like
what am I supposed to do? The season hasn't even started yet.
Right.
We don't have a win or a loss yet. This is just, I need to get myself right. And the only way to do that is to look at how good our defense still is.
Right.
I'm seeing people online looking at this and being like, oh, our season's over. It's just dumb. There's no way we're
I
making
know.
it to the playoffs.
There
Like,
was a lot of
what the
come
fuck are you
on,
talking
belly
about?
ache.
What are
Yeah,
you talking about?
relax.
Right.
chill out.
I mean, that's the thing is we've been down this road before last year.
Last year.
You know, the only difference was last year there was the hope that he would be
Last
back
year didn't
by
go
like
so well,
playoffs.
boys.
No, I know, and that's what I'm saying. It's like we've
Yeah.
been down this road before, so we know what our expectations are. We know how bad it could potentially get, but we also know all the people that we've added to the roster this offseason that weren't here last year. You know,
Yeah.
we've got
You got Linval, you got Chris
Linval,
Harris,
Kenneth Murray.
you got Kenneth Murray. Yeah.
Alohi, and
Alohi.
we've got guys that were here last
Nasir's
year.
healthy.
Nasir is healthy. We've Drew Tranquil's looking awesome. There's still a lot of guys that we have.
It's a lot of talent.
A lot of talent.
There is. I mean, there is. It's just you can't. I love this talk because I'm feeling very good about the Chargers, but at the same time, I feel like we need to grieve and get through the what is the stages of grief. Is one of them like denial? I feel like that's kind of what we're in right now.
Yeah, I think
It's like, oh, it's not that big a deal, but
there's anger,
it's a big
denial.
deal.
it's a really big deal. Yeah, he's just he's an all-pro absolute game changer.
Right.
Does that mean we're not going to have a successful season? No, we still are going to be a good defense, and we just have to adjust.
Exactly.
And it's going to look different now.
We lost a very explosive piece to the defense, but that doesn't mean it's the end.
So that being said, we haven't had coach weigh in on anything in a while. So what do you think, Kyle, like with our current roster where we are right now, like what would your ideal situation be just in terms of personnel?
Yeah. So when you look at this is fun. We actually get to talk like football X's and O's again. We have
you're coming back, Kyle. You're going to have a reason to be on the podcast. It's coming back.
Yeah, I know. I can contribute. I don't edit. I don't outline. I have a contribution this week. It's nice.
Yeah, buddy.
So when you look at Derwin James, what's so unique about him is he plays several different positions. So he's like 3 different players morphed into one person. Now that you don't have that, you can't replace Derwin James with one player. Everyone's wanting to say, oh, okay, great. Nasir Adderley will hop in there, or Rayshawn will bump down, or Desmond will bump over. That's not what our team's going to be able to do. You're not going to be able to replace Derwin James with one player. It's going to be 3 different guys that all have one of those individual abilities that Derwin has to step in and take the position for that play. So Derwin can fill the box. You could put him down there as a linebacker. You could put him up over the top as a free safety. You can put him on a tight end. You could do so many different things with Derwin that now it's going to take a lot more good coaching and substitution to be able to fill him and fill his spot, which is doable, but it's going to take good coaching and good timing. So for instance, Alohi, we don't know yet. There's no preseason games. We don't know where he's at as far as being able to play the strong safety.
Would you even throw a rookie in that position first?
Not week 1. Definitely not. He's not going to be starting. He's not going to be the starting guy going into week 1, play number 1. He may get some time situationally based on his skill sets and what's going on. But it's going to be a combination of guys. So I think there'll be times where we go 4 corners. If it's obviously a situation where we need that additional coverage, there'll be time where we go. We will have the Rayshawn and the Nasir when we're playing cover 2. If we're in cover 1, which is a 1 high safety, 1 in the box, you may bring in another linebacker if it's a real run heavy set, or it's just going to be something where we're going to be a lot more guys on and off the field. Whereas with Derwin, you put him in there and he just stays in no matter what coverage you have called, no matter what personnel the other team has on there. You just leave Derwin in and make your call. Now we have to bring in a lot more packages, a lot more guys, a lot more interchanging, which has the potential for more just screw ups. But obviously these guys are professionals. That's what they get paid to do. It's just going to take a lot more coaching. For Gus, this became a lot more intricate. Can we do it? Absolutely. You just can't say, hey, Derwin, go out in the field and play 4 positions, and I'm going to make the call, and you got to figure out where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's what's going to change. We have the personnel and different guys to be able to do it. Do you see Desmond King take on a lot more positions? Yeah, probably. So I think it's going to be it's not a next man up. That's not it. It's next 3 men up. It's going to take a lot of guys to fill Derwin James's position. But we have the guys, and we add that Alohi Phil. Man, not having Adrian Phillips now it's a big bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a real big bummer. But having that Alohi that maybe can step into that role come week 5, week 6, he gets comfortable with speed, being able to play more snaps. I think, and Nasir back, we'll have to see. We have to wait and see. But like I said, it all comes down to Derwin's not going to be replaced by one guy. You can't go out in free agency. We've talked about it a lot. In our group chat, you can't go out in free agency and pick up a Derwin James.
No,
they're not going to be sitting around waiting to be picked up.
No, and that's one of the interesting things that's come out with Derwin being placed on IR is the possibility of replacing him. Looking at some of the free agents, Earl Thomas, his name has been brought up, which initially Coach Lynn was just basically against it and going like, look, we got enough guys. You guys have told us that we have enough guys. Why would we go out after somebody like Earl Thomas?
Mm-hmm.
And there's even been talk about Jaleel Adai possibly coming back. Now, the interesting thing that you brought up with Earl Thomas was that Gus has relation with Earl Thomas, has worked with him in the past and knows what he's capable of. And Jaleel Adai has been was a Charger, and could potentially come back and knows the scheme, knows the guys, and has that relationship. Do you see us going after any of those guys now that Derwin is officially on IR and we're out of it? Or do you think that, you know what, we've got enough, we can make it happen?
I think, me personally, Kev, I saw you reacting, so I'd like to hear what you have to say. I personally think that we will bring someone in. You have an open spot now for camp, so we're going to bring somebody in.
Right.
Whether you bring in a vet or whether you bring in another young kid that you had as an undrafted free agent, they're going to bring somebody in. I would love to see Jaleel Adai back.
Yeah.
I think he offers a lot of that thumper. He doesn't have to be an every down guy, which that's what he was with us his first time around.
Right.
He played almost every snap. Now you can bring him in and he can be that, hey, it's third and shortish. Let's bring in Jaleel to come and be in the box.
Harrison
that way,
type.
in case they run, or maybe they try to play action, he's still more athletic than a linebacker would be. I think his skill set would fit for this 4 people kind of fitting. And he's a vet. He's been with the guys. He knows the locker room. It should be a pretty seamless transition for him. It's just going to be depending on obviously what kind of deal he wants, how much he takes. I would much prefer a Jaleel Adai to an Earl Thomas. 100%. Earl Thomas is not going to come in and he had locker room troubles at the last 2 stops.
He just got kicked off a team for getting in a fight with one of his teammates. Like you don't need that.
Right. I didn't want to hear, Kev. What did you think? You had a reaction when he asked.
No, I was shaking my head, but then you just basically stole my answer, you dick. Like basically Jaleel Adai is what I was thinking. But okay. I'm seeing everyone's like putting up all these videos and stuff of him blowing coverage and doing all this stuff. But that was when, that year that he was struggling was the year when he got bumped over to free when Derwin came in. And that wasn't his natural position. He's like, I just remember Jaleel Adai, like when wide receivers would come across the middle, he would, you can beep this at him, fuck people up. Mm-hmm. Like he would hit, you had to keep your head on a swivel when he was out on the field. So can Alohi Gilman do that? Possibly. Can one of our other guys step in and fill that position? Possibly. Where is Jaleel Adai? Why did he get dropped by his last team? It's hard to say what that is all about.
Mm-hmm.
If he was that good and that needed, if he was that good right now and was capable of doing all these things, there's no reason why he would have been dropped by that team. So if anything, it feels like it's just going to be a backup, somebody to put, behind what we got right now and kind of fill it in. So,
right. That was my feeling, when Jaleel's previous experience with the Chargers, it felt like he was just getting gassed. Like he was just giving everything his all. And you can only do that so much before you start seeing
kamikaze, dude. He was going kamikaze
doing
all the time.
Kamikaze, and you start to see that return on investment becoming less and less of like just the amount of energy he would expend on every play. So, yeah, I'm not opposed to Adai coming back. And yeah, I agree. I think Earl Thomas, when we watch Hard Knocks and we see the character of our team and what they have, our locker room mentality, awesome. It's amazing. And so to the idea of bringing in a guy that was swinging punches, who can't control himself.
You're basically taking a grenade, pulling the pin and throwing it in the locker room.
Exactly.
But here's the thing though. It's like, okay, so there's been fights in Chargers training camp. I'm sure. I'm sure it just happens in every practice.
But the problem I have is that he's a veteran. He is a veteran guy that people should be looking up to.
Right.
It's like Melvin Ingram. We look up to Melvin Ingram. The players look up to him. He gives people tips. Like these older guys shouldn't be getting in fights with younger guys. That is just a sign that he's not what you want as a veteran on the team.
Here's what we can rest in. Our coaches have coached both guys. They've coached Earl Thomas and they've coached Jaleel Dye. Whoever they bring back is the guy that's going to fit the locker room and the scheme.
Right.
So it's not, if they bring in somebody like out of nowhere, then yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But if they bring in one of those two guys, there's a coach that can vouch for that player that it wasn't that, hey, look, there was something else going on. There's no way that he said something about his mom or something. Like there's no way that's out of character for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But like I said, I'm not expecting a Derwin James to come in. We just need another piece.
There aren't any other ones.
They
don't exist.
Yeah. We'll bring in another attribute, or we don't bring in anyone.
We use our guys.
Opens up another roster spot for a Mr. Quentin Meeks to make the squad.
That's true.
So,
there you go.
The one thing I will say though, like Coach Bradley, when he was asked about replacing Derwin, he said we're looking at options and we'll do that for the next couple days. And said Adderley has caught his eye.
Right.
So
yeah, and he's gonna fill some of that for sure.
I just don't know enough about Adderley. I remember his preseason game against the 49ers where he had the interception. He was making tackles. He was killing it. But is he capable of playing that strong safety?
I don't know. So I went back and looked at Delaware where he played college ball. His first 2 years he played corner, so not the most aggressive position in the whole world. And then they moved him over to safety. I'm pretty sure he played free safety the whole time. So he's never really been that in the box guy before. Does that mean he can't do it? No. But he's never done it at the college level. It'll be hard for him to translate immediately to the NFL level.
Mm-hmm.
So I see him being that cover guy. If we're running cover 2 and we have 2 safeties out there, perfect. You have Rayshon and you have Nasir. But it's just what the other thing that comes is you're not going to be able to disguise coverage. You know, with Derwin, you don't know what we're running. He could start up top, roll down. We could roll around. He could be a middle linebacker for all they knew.
That's such a
he
good
could play
point.
corner.
Yeah.
So you just can't disguise it as much. When they know our personnel is out there, the offensive coordinators will know. Even week 1, you have a rookie quarterback. What do you think they're going to coach him from here on out? Whoever's at the position that Derwin was supposed to be at, let's attack there. You know, so there's going to be a lot on whoever that person is, whoever that strong safety, whatever that air quotes, wherever that is on the defense at that particular time, they're going to get attacked. So they're going to have to, there's going to be someone that has to step up and make some plays.
That's a great point.
It's just, you circle back around. It's just sad, man. It's just sad that we have to deal with it.
And I feel bad for Derwin, man. The 2 years in a row, the poor guy's gotten hurt in training camp. Just don't practice him next year. Just let him show up on Sundays and just let him play. And if he gets hurt, he gets hurt. But no more training camp for Derwin James. Next contract, we're putting that in
here, and we'll get into it later. But the one thing it circled around and I started thinking about was like, we didn't have our first scrimmage on Thursday for good reason.
Right.
Absolutely good reason.
Right.
So he got hurt at our scrimmage at our practice field. That was the replacement of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, dude, like we would have only practiced and done that full scrimmage at SoFi.
Kevin.
It's just like that's where your brain goes. You start.
It's not your fault. I changed my fantasy name to Derwinning, and I thought it was my fault.
Yeah, it is your fault for
don't
sure.
go there.
Like that was a great name, but I think you named your team that the day he got hurt, so you're kind of fucking responsible.
I think I might have. I'm sorry to all of Charger Nation that I did this.
You lost that one for us, Kyle.
Won't do that again.
Will never do that again. Kyle, you have to promise you will never do that again.
Okay.
But on that note, it's like going into the future, and you talk to the leaders, it's like Melvin Ingram, they asked him about it, and he said, basically he said we're still going for the Super Bowl.
Of course.
Nothing's changing.
Of course.
There's nothing, he's like, this ain't shit change.
Right.
We're still the same team. We come out here to win a Super Bowl, and that is the ultimate goal no matter what is going on. So
absolutely. That's
put your head down, put the blinders on. Only so many times people can tell you what you can't do.
Yeah.
And it just pisses you off. Maybe this is something that, buying some of these older guys to these newer players and like, throwing them in the fire. And then we get some really awesome guys that come out of this,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. Yeah.
Opportunity is, that's all you need sometimes.
That's how we found Drew Tranquil last year.
Exactly.
And yeah,
DP
absolutely.
went down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of unforeseen talent on this team that really has an opportunity to show what they can do. So we'll find that out week 1, 12 days away, as Kev mentioned.
The Big 12. I can't believe it's that close.
I can't either, man. With
fired
everything that's
up.
been happening, I still feel like we're in March. Like it's just like I can't believe that it's already September. But in 12 days, we will see the Chargers take the field, and it was officially announced that Tyrod Taylor will be the starting quarterback for week 1. I don't think many
We all
people
knew that.
Yeah.
Wahoo!
Yeah.
Somebody posted that like it was like this big news
Breaking
break.
news from Adam Schefter.
Right.
Tyrod Taylor is the
What are
starting
you
quarterback.
talking about? Yes, that's always been the plan.
Right.
Like, what is going
Technically-
on?
It's just technically Lynn has never come out and said it. He's always said it's going to be like, we're going to see how things go, blah, blah, blah. You have to say that when you draft someone like Justin Herbert in the first round top 10 pick.
Exactly.
But everyone in the whole universe knew that Tyrod was going to start.
Right. We would have heard about it, I think, if we heard that, Tyrod's struggling in camp and, isn't making plays or anything like that.
That's just
Then
not
it
gonna
might have been a
happen.
question, but
Yeah.
for all accounts, it's not been that way.
No.
Tyrod's been playing great, and we've seen it in Hard Knocks. We've seen it on Mic'd Up, and yeah, he's an absolute leader, and I'm glad that we have him
100%.
as a quarterback right now.
Yeah.
Except for that overthrown ball that Mike Williams tried to catch and then hurt his shoulder. We'll
Well,
get to that in Hard Knocks. Just saying.
You're not in pads. Why
I'm
are you
just
laying
kidding.
out,
I'm
Mike?
just kidding.
Good
Calm
Lord.
down. I know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So absolutely great to have Tyrod in the seat. And then just before we started recording this podcast, there was a bit of news that dropped. It's speculation, so it's hard to say what happened. But what was a fact was Coach Lynn held Perryman out of the team's recent scrimmage after demoting him from the starting lineup. So the possibility of Perryman being on the trading block is out there. It's speculation, but truthfully, he was demoted from the starting lineup.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, that was just very recent. Like, what is going on? How good is Kenneth Murray to fully knock out, Perriman out of a scrimmage and out of a practice? Like, what the hell? That's crazy.
Yeah.
But like,
Perriman-
I don't see how you could get rid of. I don't see how you could trade
No.
Perriman with
He
like.
just- You know what Perriman is? He's a run specialist.
Right.
He may not start, but he's a run specialist. He's not going to drop in coverage and get picked. He's going to punch the fullback in the mouth and spill the running back somewhere. Like that's what he does.
And we just need the depth. You see what happened with Derwin.
Right.
We
He's not
had
getting
this
traded.
problem at the end, like 2 years ago when we made it to the playoffs. We didn't have enough linebackers.
Right.
So like I don't
He's
know
not
where
getting
this
traded.
speculation came from, but somebody was saying that
I think the concern is his history of having injuries. Like
Yeah.
that's the concern. Is like, why would we
So who's going to trade for him?
hold that spot? Well, that's why it's all speculation. That's like,
Yeah. He needs a good year, and then maybe we.
I
trade
mean, I'll
him.
be honest with you. I was surprised Russell Okung found a spot to be, given the pulmonary embolism, but he did.
Valid.
So I think there's still a possibility if Perryman were to get traded that there are people out there looking for that kind of a player. I just don't see it happening.
I don't want him going anywhere.
I don't either.
I saw that. I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that news.
I
don't
mean,
like that idea.
if he gets demoted,
No.
because Kenneth Murray's just that good of a player, so be it. But
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to leave the team by any stretch.
I think they only owe him like $2 million this year. I think that's against the cap, so it's not even that big of a deal.
But you said Coach Lynn
player-wise.
held him out of practice.
Yeah, so apparently, like,
We might hear
I
about
don't
it
know.
next Hard Knocks.
yeah,
I'm
like
sure
he
they'll-
was held out of the team's recent scrimmage after being demoted. So the
So did
thought
he
is they don't want him
react
to get.
poorly.
Though the thought, I don't know. The thing, no. From what I've gathered, is the thing is they don't want him to get hurt in practice because they could trade him. That's why he was pulled out of practice. So that's why this is a little more serious than just like hypothetical.
Hmm.
He didn't practice at all. They
That's a
pulled
very
him out.
baseball move.
It feels very baseball-y. So
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know. It doesn't sound like there's no injury. There's no reason why he wouldn't be practicing. It just sounds like coach pulled him out, and then that could signal that they don't want him to the potential of possibly getting hurt on one of the practices and ruin a trade possibility.
All of our
So,
signals are getting crisscrossed, and what are signals anymore?
or whatever it is.
Hard Knocks and Who knows?
Who knows? But what we do know is this last episode of Hard Knocks happened, and sweet sassy Molassie, that was the best episode.
It was the best so
The
far.
best. Chargers 4-0. We
Hands
are
down.
Yeah,
4-0 right now.
blew it out of the water. It was it was just a great, solid episode.
We just had so much development going on. Like they
Yes.
even had
Better
time to get into
storylines.
it. There's
There's something out of a movie.
It was so perfect. Like they
Yeah.
had the time to like develop. Like they started with Herbert and they checked back in with him later. Like they had time. We'll get into it, but it was perfect. It was just
Yeah.
I was
So
smiling
good.
pretty much the whole time
Mhm.
till the end.
Except for every time they went to the Rams.
Except for when they went to the Rams, and what a boring ass. I know this is like a broken record, and I keep saying it. It's
Fudge
just like
backer.
it's just kicking a injured dog, just like really just
So
winding
bad.
up with a
They
steel
just-
toes. Zodiac
Final
work
episode,
boot.
it's just all Chargers. Like, come on,
Just a-
HBO. You know that's what you want to do.
It really
just
should be.
put that dog down. Just put him out of his misery and let us watch our boys, because ours was great.
Yeah.
Our coaches are better. Everyone's real.
I feel like Rams fans at this point are like, this just isn't good TV. Let's just see the Chargers.
Right. Rams
Yeah.
might actually lose fans from watching Hard Knocks.
Oh, yeah. I completely. There's at least one person out there that wants to jump on board. We will take you.
But I'm waiting for, just out of curiosity, like there's only one episode left. Like, when is there going to be anything interesting about the Rams? Like, there's nothing. There's no storyline even remotely interesting.
No.
They cut two guys, and
The
they never
Fudgebacker
even
making the team.
introduced the two guys. Usually they introduce the guys they're cutting. They haven't introduced anybody except for Fudgebacker and the crazy DB who like giggles
Talks a
when he
little bit.
plays.
Yeah.
Can't
That
remember his
was
name,
the thing that made me crack up when I was watching it. They cut the two guys, and then Liev Schreiber's talking about, the next cut will come from the bottom of the defensive depth. And they immediately cut to the Fudgebacker. Like, it was just like,
He's the next scene.
I was expecting him to get cut with the transition like that, but
Can you
Still
wait,
remains
Can you
to be
imagine?
seen.
Here's what when I saw that. Can you imagine being the guy that got cut and going back to watch Hard Knocks and be like, how did they not cut this guy over me? He admittedly messes up 5 times every walkthrough.
right.
Yeah.
And you're gonna cut me over this guy?
Yeah.
I can't imagine being that poor guy's pissed off right now.
Hydrogen 2, oxygen 1.
Oh my god, that was the worst. He's such a dork.
What a
Like, oh my
nerd.
God.
Oh,
Uber
man.
nerd.
But right after that was when we got to see way up. We got to see Eckler and all the other running
Oh,
backs
yeah.
making their jumps.
That was
and
fun.
that was so cool. Just to
When he
see
cleared
that.
the 5 bags. I love when Coach, what did he say? He's
He
like,
was goading them all
um,
the whole time. I
he's
love
like,
that.
LT height.
That's LT.
Oh,
Y'all at LT
God.
company. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, dude, for a guy that's that short, holy shit,
know.
he's got hops.
No,
Holy
he's able to
shit.
jump
He was
over
talking-
his
He
height.
was talking technique on how to get they're jumping too early. They're jumping too early.
Mhm.
I'm like, this guy's been practicing this offseason to get over these
Just
bags.
like pillows set up on his bed, and he's just jumping
Yeah.
over onto. He's quarantine pillow diving.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was so cool
and he
to
won.
see.
RB1, let's go.
RB1
Insert
winning,
your
baby.
dominance.
Yeah, it was kind of cool though. With I love how they set up Herbert and having a bad practice and just like really sucking, and then they shifted hard over to him a little later in the episode,
Crushing.
and he just throwing dimes and
Yeah.
rising to the challenge of getting playing against
Even the wide receiver coach in their wide receiver meeting being like, guys, this is how you respond from a bad practice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
About the rookie quarterback.
when he said this is as good as a football as you're ever gonna see. I'll
that
show
one
you
play,
from the
yeah.
He
where
said,
stepped
I have
up.
the quote here.
Yeah.
I'll show you from the angle so you can fully appreciate the level of quarterback play from this young guy. Step up, avoid the sack, reset, and throw. That's as good as it gets, boys. I was like, football.
Put him in.
It's like,
Starting quarterback,
yes!
Herbert.
Herbert, football.
Yeah, next
Comeback
day,
player.
Tyrod Taylor is our starting quarterback.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But then after the getting fired up with that, and then we go to Braden Fehoko,
Braden, yeah.
which did he just become one of everyone else's favorite
Oh,
people
did.
on our team?
I mean, it's the comparable storylines. You got Fudgebacker on the Rams having his Zoom meeting
The
call.
name is the best. We're getting T-shirts made, guys. I'm gonna get
I'm
you guys
sorry.
some
Fudgebacker,
T-shirts.
yeah. I'm getting a jersey that says Fudgebacker on the back.
You got him having the Zoom meeting call with his dad and Brett Favre. And then you've got Braden having his Zoom meeting with like the whole Fehoko clan.
Yeah.
Like, that was so much
And they're,
more
like,
emotional.
His parents are like crying about how proud they are of him.
It was a beautiful storyline. I really hope that he makes it. Seeing Linval, we got to see a little bit of Linval showing him some technique.
With the shades on
First
at
time,
practice.
yeah.
God, he looks like a mountain of a man. I'm so glad we have him on the team.
He is. He's just a grown man.
Yes. Time for the Rook
That's
to
what they're
rock.
supposed to look like.
It was
He's awesome.
it was
It was
so
kinda-
good.
It was kind of cool. It was kind of cool. His dad was like the mascot.
Yeah.
Was it the Billy the Warrior who
For the
did
whole
like all
University
the
of
Hawaii?
Hawaii.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
super cool. But then, honestly, like having that, I remember playing high school football, and at halftime we'd go into the weight room, and just outside they would have like the drum corps come, and they'd start playing and get everyone jacked up. Like,
Absolutely.
that guy right there. You saw how everyone was reacting to him.
Oh, they're hyped
Just-
up. Yeah.
They were getting fired up. Like
Yeah.
no one. I want to see that before every game. Like if
Yeah.
anything, he just needs to come in as the hype man.
Yes.
He's hype man Fehoko, and you just bring him in. You create a new
Dude.
position, a new
Yeah.
roster slot for him for the hype man.
We my senior year in high school, we had a couple kids on our team that were brothers that were Tongan, and they taught us all Oaxaca.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure we looked goofy as hell doing it.
Doesn't
You
But
did
matter.
for sure.
afterwards,
I
we were
remember
ready for
watching it.
battle.
Oh, dude, you guys,
Yeah,
Jack,
we were ready-
you get fired up.
We were ready for battle. With tongues out and everything. We were ready to knock people's heads off.
Yeah.
There's no way you can't after doing Oaxaca.
I love Coach. He's just like, he just made the team. He just made the team. It's like, you can't cut
Yeah.
him now, Coach.
I
You
hope
just said
so.
he
You
made
can't
the
cut him.
team.
Coach, you're a man of your word. I know you're a man of character.
I mean,
You
that
better
was
not
what
cut
kind of
that.
scared
Yeah.
me, because we saw the cuts from the Rams cutting a couple of guys, and we haven't seen any cuts from the Chargers yet. So I'm rooting for it. I think everybody, whether you're a Charger fan or not, if you're watching Hard Knocks, you're rooting for this guy to make the team.
Yeah, Telesco's like, don't put any cuts on. I don't want a bad look.
Dude,
Like,
don't put that on. Don't put
do
that,
that.
juju on me,
Yeah.
Lynn.
And then did you see? I got posted today that Telesco had a Die Hard Bolt Club shirt on.
Yeah,
that
he
was pretty
did.
cool.
That's
sick.
so cool. Our GM of an NFL football team is wearing like a
A
supporters club
fan-made shirt,
t-shirt.
basically.
That's
He's so sick.
so. It just made me happy. There's a biggest smile.
And he had the first episode, he had a Pat McAfee shirt on.
Yeah,
You know, Pat McAfee is like
Mhm.
he's so
yeah. He's the
Telesco
punter from
drafted him
Indianapolis.
on the
Yeah.
Colts, and like so he had him on his show, and he's like, "Yeah, send me a shirt, I'll put it on for Hard Knocks." And he was Telesco is just everyone in our organization is just gaining points, just hand over hand, every single episode. It's so awesome.
It
But they're
is.
not doing it intentionally.
No, they're just
No.
being who they are.
They never know when they're going to be on camera. I read,
Right.
I watched an interview with him on the McAfee show, and he's like, "Well, he's like, thanks for wearing my shirt," and he's like, "I just was wearing that shirt that day. They just happened to use that moment of that day."
Yeah.
He's like, "I was just wearing my clothes," so he's not like making a big deal about it. It's not like
Right.
a walking billboard. He's just like representing us, and
So cool.
interesting news. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it or not,
No.
but no one said I couldn't say it. I think they're going to have a Missouri diehard Bolt.
Ooh.
Are you going to be the chapter president?
I don't know.
Dude,
I
there
haven't
has
been
to be a
asked.
diehard Bolt club in every city that is a rival. There needs to be one in Denver,
Ooh.
Kansas City, and Oakland.
Vegas.
There has
Yeah.
to be.
Vegas.
Or Vegas. I'm sorry, Vegas.
I haven't been asked to the dance yet, but if I am asked, I may say,
So
maybe.
you're saying
I'll think
there's
about
a
it.
chance.
You're saying there's a chance.
saying there's a chance. But yeah, it's just cool, man. He's just cool. Plesko's cool. And
Everybody.
to go back to the there's just one thing with the Braden Foco thing. He had the funniest line in the show for me when he like jumped up to try and get an interception, and he was like, if my mom was like two more inches taller, I would have had that. I'd have had that. I was just like, dude, you're too good. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
that's awesome.
I love
all
that
good
guy.
advice that he was given too. I mean, when we first saw him, it was just show up on tape. show up on tape. Just show up on tape.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, come on, just show up on tape. And he had a couple good plays. I think they showed in Hard Knocks of him making some plays. So fingers crossed from you, Braden. We're all rooting for you. And then, we all kind of knew the storyline coming into it. But there was, we saw on the previous episode of Hard Knocks, the Rams going and playing scrimmage at the stadium. And then when we all knew what was going to happen, but we got to see just from a different perspective of the Chargers initially planning to go scrimmage at the stadium. And it was good to see the behind the scenes of the mentality of what was happening prior to them making the decision not to practice.
Right.
You got to see Coach Lynn going, look, I don't necessarily see the benefit of not practicing. Right. And when they're in the locker room, they're like, I don't see the benefit of not practicing, but if we aren't going to practice, then we have to do something. We can't just go home. We can't just take the day off. We need to do something. And to see all of the guys that went out on the field to stand behind Coach Lynn during it's not a press conference, but it was an opportunity for them to talk about what was on everybody's mind. I mean, if you don't love that team after just seeing that, like that's a movie moment. Like that's that was so cool.
And it's like it seems to be unprompted. Like Coach Lynn wasn't like, "Hey guys, everyone come circle around me while I talk to the NFL."
No,
network.
it wasn't McVay style at all.
No, like, "Hey guys, and then when I'm done, let's all like have a dog pile."
Yeah,
and we're gonna do the wave.
Hey.
I'm gonna start on this end, and I'm gonna go this end, and everybody go woo.
Yeah, like but the thing that was big for me, like I was just kind of getting swept up in the emotion of it, and just seeing how it was all played out. And then I just looked over at my wife, and she's like, "He's a leader, like Lynn, like." He's a leader. Like you could follow that guy places. Like she was ready to like Kool-Aid man through a brick wall for Coach Lynn. Like, I was like, all right, honey, I love you too. You want to be a Charger fan officially? You can drop your package. You can come on board and follow Lynn into the promised land with us, hopefully. So it was just to see the leadership.
The leadership
to see the leadership.
Everybody.
It was great, man.
You see Tyrod Taylor, he shows up, and there was like Drew Tranquil was asking somebody else like, "Hey, you talked to Ty like last night?" He's like, "No, I didn't." Tyrod shows up. He's like, "Everyone get inside. I got to say something."
Yeah, move your asses.
I think we missed something. I think they didn't allow. I think Tyrod maybe said like, "Hey, I don't want cameras in here for this," because it seemed like when he was going to recruit the players that he was bringing them all in the locker room to say something very specific to the guys. So I think we missed out on something there because he went out there with a very specific purpose of recruiting everyone to get in the locker room because he had something to say.
Yeah.
Which I totally understand. And I think that that's right that they probably didn't put that on HBO, but I think that we missed something there.
Well, there was a couple times when they were in the locker room that somebody was talking and you didn't necessarily know who was saying what was being said, because
they
there weren't
didn't allow
any cameras
in there.
Yeah.
They didn't allow.
Yeah. The few times that we did actually get to see who was talking and who was saying, I mean, Coach Lynn, you can recognize his voice regardless. And you got to see some of Coach Stewart as well.
Yeah, he was great.
Who was fabulous.
That quote he said, it was like, wow, it's like you got to lose something to get something.
Absolutely.
It's like
you got to,
just powerful.
If you want change, you got to be able to put something up. And comparing it to Kaepernick and comparing it to other people who have risked what they have to make change happen is truth. And for him to talk about I've seen this from being 6 years old to now. I've seen this, and it's still here, and it's just you can't avoid it. But what a great moment for the Chargers as
That's
a team.
galvanizing. That's galvanizing.
The leadership from everybody that got a chance to speak that day. Coach Lynn, Tyrod Taylor, I mean, even Badgley and Ty Long and Damian Square, like all of those guys had something to say about the situation, and Isaac Rochelle especially too. I mean,
and Justin Jackson. So many guys spoke.
Yeah, and you didn't feel like they were coming from any place of disingenuousness. Like it was all real. I mean, and even decking out the stadium with enough, I don't want your pity.
On the Oculus,
it was
the quote. Yeah.
it was just a powerful moment. And I mean, again, if we're going to compare moments between the Rams and the Chargers, I'm sorry, the Chargers, even the Chargers don't even have to practice at the stadium to win playing at the, scrimmage at the stadium. Like that's just that much more powerful. It was just a very sobering way to end that Hard Knocks episode.
Yeah, it was by far the best episode so far of the season.
Hands down.
And there wasn't even that much football involved.
There barely any,
like,
other than all the dimes Herbert was throwing and, Bahoko being pretty awesome. It was pretty simple. The Hard Knocks isn't really football right now, man. It's not really about the football. They're moving around the football because you can only show practices so many times. It's just, it goes back to what we said originally. It's like, it's just fitting that the Chargers get this season of Hard Knocks.
Yep.
It just kind of goes our way sometimes. But I feel like some of that bad luck is going to break here pretty soon, and we're going to be, doing some good things. So
absolutely. Well, there's the next episode that we have to look forward to. I mean, if we were to go back and grade this last episode, I mean, to me, I would only say it's a 9 because there was Rams. If you look at just the Chargers, it's a perfect 10. It's a perfect 10 this last episode.
Yeah. I'll go 9. I'll go 9 with you, Will Dog. I think that's a good reasoning for that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's impossible to get a 10 out of 10 with half the episode being the Rams.
Exactly.
To get a 9, that's the half of the episode was really, really good.
Fudgebacker dropped it to a 4 for me that few minutes he was on, and then the Chargers regained it back up to a 9.
Exactly. Yeah, like if it was Chargers for an hour, it'd be like a 15 out of 10.
Yeah.
So looking at next week, as far as what we can expect from the storyline, I was kind of surprised that they didn't show any of the Derwin James situation. So
I fucking don't want to see it, man. I don't want to see him hurting himself. I don't want to see any of that shit. I feel like by next week, when they're actually going to show this episode, I'm going to have come to terms with it.
We're going to be 2 weeks removed and like moved on, and then it's going to happen again. Yeah,
I'm going to be able. it's going to be salt. Like the wound will have been healed over. They're going to rip my wound open and then pour some salt on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't need that.
Right.
I just want to see all the Rams players get cut and get down to the 52-man roster. I just want to see all those guys get cut and see how awkward McVay is cutting people. Like, oh man, he's a really nice guy. He's a really nice guy. I wish we could have kept you. And I think my storyline prediction for next week is it's just going to be like a domino effect for both teams. It's just like cuts.
Yeah,
because
they haven't cut anybody. The last episode is
they haven't cut anybody yet, and it's just going to be cut city. So
I'd be interested to see too, though, is if we do bring someone in, even if it's not a big name, to see like if they document that at all.
Oh, Derwin
will get hurt in the first 5 minutes of the episode.
Yeah,
and then to see whoever we bring in, kind of, I don't know. Hopefully they stay with that guy a little bit.
Or it would be cool if they highlighted some of our secondary that they haven't even introduced
Nasir
yet. Let's talk about
Rayshawn or any of them.
Yeah.
Feeling. Here's a better thing, Kyle. I think you're right on the point. I think next episode is going to be about him getting hurt and who's going to fill his shoes. And they're going to kind of meet some of our new players that way. I think that's the move for sure.
Alohi would be cool to document a little bit.
Yeah.
So what about you, Willie? What do you think is going to happen next week?
I would agree on everything that's been said so far. The one thing that I really want to see, whether or not we get it remains to be seen, but what I would really like to see is anything of Kenneth Murray, not just sitting there eating a sandwich. Like that's the only picture that we've seen. Is
it's
him
like his version of like
sandwich.
pissing on his territory and controlling. He just has a sandwich at the 50-yard line. He marks his territory. The ham sandwich.
I just want to see him doing something and anything at this point. So
staying healthy,
being healthy, most importantly. If he's off on the side, washing his clothes on his abs, that's fine. I just want to see it. I just want to see it.
As he's healthy.
Exactly.
It wouldn't take much. Those washboards, man. Brutal. The guy's
he's our Aaron Donald, dude.
Oh, dude, for sure. He's like a bodybuilder guy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So happy to have him. So yes, I'd like to see some Kenneth Murray next episode, if at all possible.
You guys ready for this Hard Knocks experience to be over? We only got one episode left.
To be honest, I wish we could just give it back and get next year.
Yeah, just reset. Reset.
Did anybody keep the receipt? Can we return this later?
Yeah,
just change it for another one.
As much as I loved the last episode, the 4 in total, I wish I know we could get better if we had 5 whole episodes of just Chargers, but now that we've been on it, we're not going to get on it for another 25 plus years. So.
No, that's not true. Rams were just on it, but McVay's a camera hog, bitch boy, and wants to be on Hard Knocks all the time.
Yeah, but now they know that if you put a team on it again, they aren't good at being on it again.
Yeah, they suck.
Because they suck.
I don't know. I feel like if they're the Chargers, to me, and maybe this is a biased opinion, but to me, everything that they've shown of the Chargers has been engaging in some way or another, just based off the character of the players that we have. I feel like the Chargers could come back on again and it would still be interesting, not just as a Charger fan, but just seeing the backstory of all these players that we have. Like, it's all interesting. It's all engaging to see these players and where they came from. So, and what they do and the energy that they bring to the team. So if they decided to bring the Chargers back again next year, it's A-OK with me.
I agree. I just don't think it's going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Maybe we'll get Backstage Chargers again. That was pretty fun.
Backstage Chargers is good.
Yeah, Backstage Chargers great. Again, I mean, the mic'd up, they just dropped one today. It was Rayshawn Jenkins, and it's just great. I just love watching it.
Yeah.
So, folks, to wrap up this episode, I just had something that I wanted to say, and I shared it with Kyle and Kev, and we're all on the same page. So I just wanted to share this with everybody. Biggest thing right now, especially after watching the last episode of Hard Knocks, is I'm sad and I'm scared for where we are right now, where the country is, and where we're going. And it's been that way for a while. For weeks, both myself and my co-host brother struggled when it came to talking about our support for Black Lives Matter. You know, we're 3 white guys, and the last thing that any of us want to do is to ever come across insensitive, apathetic, or uneducated to what is happening in our world right now. We've never had to confront what's happening in our world right now. We also felt that this is a very niche show, a podcast dedicated to one of 32 NFL teams. You know, we're not world news. We're not a political show. We're not even a football podcast. We're just 3 guys that love one team and one team only, and we chat about it every day. We're constantly keeping each other informed and updated on what's happening on the Chargers. We're constantly texting each other, sending each other Instagram stories. That's why this podcast is what it is. But as we all saw in the last episode of Hard Knocks, some things are bigger than football. The Chargers decided to take the practice time and talk about the systemic racism that's happening in our society today and the constant serious injury or death to people of color because of it. The Chargers had the platform of the NFL Network to talk about what's happening, and I, along with Kevin and Kyle, feel that while our platform is not the NFL Network, we still have a voice. The Rams coaching staff mentioned how watching the video of Jacob Blake made them think about all the times that something like that happened where there wasn't video. And to name a time that there hasn't been racism in America, and that they couldn't because it's always been here. Because the 3 of us have not always had to face it or had to be scared about being treated different based on the color of our skin, we were afraid to talk about it. But we live in a world now where you have to go out of your way to avoid it, to not see it, and to not actively speak out against it. So please support your local community, support Black Lives Matter, and if you're able, please vote. Change will only happen if we do something. If we do nothing, there will never be change. That's going to do it for us here at Charger Chat. Don't forget to bolt up, because we're ready for any squad, any place.
Okay, love you, bye.
Okay, love you, bye.
Okay, love you, bye. Hey folks, Wolldog here. In lieu of a sponsor this week, I want to take this time to tell you to go out and vote. Election day is 60 days away, and it's the best chance for your opinion to count and for your voice to be heard. You can go to www.vote.org, where you can find links for every state where you can register, check your registration, and set up your vote by mail if that's the way you want to go. It's really quick and easy and ensures that when it comes time to vote, you're ready to go. So go out to www.vote.org and be the change you want to see in this world. Stay safe, hug the ones you love, and don't forget to bolt up, because we're ready for any squad, any place.